Nigerians in that entertainment industry, they are not competing with South Africa. They are competing with America. When you see a Nigerian artist, when you see a music video of a Nigerian, you will mistaken it for Americans. They are moving. You are busy with machete. People are working on themselves. Even when we're told that this thing of foreigners and being protective of foreigners and outsiders is going to cost you votes, we said, let it be so. I'm waiting today for anyone, and Mzwanele should have asked that question in that debate. I want someone who's going to tell me this country is a successful country economically in the world because of the fence. They put a border. After putting a border, they were very successful. You talk about borders as if border is a prerequisite for development and successful economy. What is that? What is that? We have never preached for undocumented people. Because we would have said South Africans must not get IDs if we are promoting undocumented people. How do we say South Africans must have IDs, have an ID campaign during elections, and then the rest of others must not have papers? There's no such a thing. Everybody must be documented. But where you stay is immaterial. I was brought up by Peter Mokaba. Peter was close to Castle Matal. Peter, by all this time, thought Castle Matal was Tsonga because he came from Zanin. He realizes later that, no man, when are you baby? Says yes, says, all along I'm concluding that you are Tsonga. Why? It has never been any issue. Just, he's from Zanin, okay, yeah. So, it's like someone who comes and say, I'm Matala from Eastern Cape. I want to hear Matala. I'm going to hear Eastern Cape and that's it, done. But only to realize this guy is Pedi in Eastern Cape. Because there are people who were forcefully removed in Matala and put in Eastern Cape. And today all of them speak Xhosa. But it's irrelevant that. I don't care about that. What is relevant is, can this comrade perform a task? I don't care about their nationality, their regionalism, tribalism, and all of that. The reason why I don't like these xenophobic things is because when they degenerate, they go to tribalism. What happens after we're done with Zimbabweans? Is vendors. What happens after we're done with the Swatis? So, today, because of tribalism, parties are now flourishing in some in KZN who are saying, we need a Zulu state, we need KZN state, and because we need a Xhosa state. Then the racists come on the other side and say, we want independence of the Western Cape, because they've realized you tolerate nonsense. If they know that you reject this kind of divisions, starting from the continent and all over the world, none of those people will speak that language amongst yourself. Because that language must never be appealing to any of us. Anyone who speaks division, we must say to them, no, you don't belong here. So that's all I can say.
Comrades, we will make sure the struggle of all immigrants, most of whom are economic migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa. We will never. In South Africa, they say to us, if you want to be elected, you must declare war on illegal immigrants. And illegal immigrants, they mean Africans. We have refused as the EFF that we will never declare war on any immigrant, illegal or legal. Illegal according to whose law? Because if you are illegal, you should have violated a certain law. which African law did these people violate when they came to this side of Africa? Because they are still in the same territory of Africa. They are at home when they are in South Africa. We wish to tell them we're going to elections next year in South Africa. We wish to reiterate that, and we tell them all the time, if they want to elect us on the basis of xenophobia, they can keep their votes. We are not disparate for votes. We are disparate for the unity of Africa, and that's what we want to achieve in our lifetime.
Some of you who are beating up Zimbabweans here, some of you who are hating on Zimbabweans here, you are going to work for them. They will be owning their mines, they will be owning their retail, they will be owning their banks, they will be owning their land. You call them foreigners. What is the definition of a foreigner? A foreigner is a person who comes into your country without papers, doesn't have anything to show. That includes you. You are foreigners because you have nothing to show. You go around claiming this is your country. Let's go outside, show me papers that confirms you are the owner of this country. There's nothing. You don't own anything, yet you call people foreigners. You are a foreigner yourself because you do not own. Foreigners means visitors. Visitors are people who just come empty-handed with a small bag. When the time permits, they go. That's you. You are renting. You are marching from the hostels, beating up people that they must leave South Africa. Yet you do not own a hostel. You are paying a rent in that hostel. You can be removed yourself from that hostel. You are telling people to leave your country. You come from an apartment. You come from a flat. You come from a house. You have no paper. When you return back home after taking out Zimbabweans, the white man will be at the door showing you the way out of the rented flat, out of the rented house, out of the rented apartment.
Comrades and fighters, it's not true that Zimbabweans and Nigerians and foreigners are taking your jobs. Let me tell you, if you want to know their jobs, you look at one thing only. You look at the economy if it's growing. The South African economy is not growing. So even if we chase away Zimbabweans and everyone, you will still not get a job. Because jobs are created by a growing economy. So you don't say we don't have jobs because they are Zimbabweans. Look at whether the economy is growing. Because the growing economy means the business is doing business. And when they do business, they will need labor force to come and help them do business. So the South African economy is stagnant. It's not growing. It's not going anywhere. Unlike that time of Thabo Mbeki, where the economy was growing, and we could see that our country was growing because the economy was growing. You cannot grow the economy if you don't turn this country into a construction site. We have to build bridges. We have to build roads. We have to build proper houses. We have to make sure that water reticulation plants and sewer are maintained. And we build the new ones because the population is growing. We have to revive the industry. We have to revive all of economic activity in South Africa because we want to create jobs.
Today, you are fighting with Zimbabweans. You are all fighting to be Negroes. You are fighting to work for a white man. You are not fighting for the land.
All of you, you joined forces together against Zimbabweans. What's wrong? No, they are taking our jobs. Why? Because you want to be workers. You don't want to be the owners of strategic sectors of the economy. All you are fighting for is jobs. Who's going to give you these jobs? It's a white man. You are all now fighting to work for a white man. And you are proud to fight to work for a white man. Why should you fight people for jobs? We should fight people for the land. And that we want our land, because with our land, we will not be workers. We will be the owners of the land. And we will produce for ourselves and for all. We're not fighting for the mines. We're not fighting. We never said, hey, Zimbabweans are all over here. They are owning the banks. We South Africans don't own the banks. No one is saying that. Oh, Dudula, what's wrong? They are taking our jobs. And you think you have made a very powerful political statement by saying they are taking jobs. Okay, jobs. Who owns the jobs? It's a white man. You are fighting to work for us. In the EFF, we are not fighting to work for us. That job is a transition towards the ownership of the strategic means of our economy. We do not want to work for the white man. If anything, the white man must work for us, because we are the rightful owners of the land. We must dream big. Any of you here who says that the Zimbabweans are taking jobs from you, you are a small dreamer, and we have no time for small dreamers. We are the big dreamers, and the big dreamers dreams about owning the land, the natural and mineral resources of South Africa and the whole African continent. Because there will never be economic freedom selectively to South Africa alone. That's why Mugabe failed on the land question. Because when he took the land, they ran to South Africa. When they arrived here, we should have also taken the land. When they run to Mozambique, they take the land. Anywhere they go, they must find Africans standing together and saying, no white man is going to own the land here unless under our terms. There can never be an isolated socialism exclusive for a particular country. Even China alone and Cuba, they will not succeed in Venezuela if the world over doesn't come together to collapse this big animal called capitalism. It's so huge, so much that it needs the world to come together to defeat this animal called capitalism. So, you will not do that in society because you don't debate politics and you can't defend the position of the EFF when it comes to foreigners because you don't understand. You have never given yourself time to discuss it amongst yourself. When we were putting the Zulu king, there were Zulus from Zambia. There were Zulus from Zimbabwe. There were Zulus from many other African countries who came to KZN to honor the coronation of the king. Now, all these xenophobic people didn't know that there are actually Zulus in Zambia who left here to Zambia. So, When you look at that in totality, you actually come to realize that we are actually one thing. We are one people. Why are the white people not complaining about Zimbabweans and then instigating us against Zimbabweans? It's because blacks must forever fight amongst themselves. The unity of black people is a threat to white men. That's why I was happy to see the EFF giving message of support in a conference of the PAC. And I was like, this is what we need. That black people who represent Pan-Africanism and progressive left must always embrace each other's existence. And the left of South Africa must come together against these right-wingers who are ruling our country. Without the unity of the left, we will never defeat our enemy, which is white monopoly capital that controls everything that we are using. There's no one here today who didn't wake up and not use a product of Johan Rupert. All of us here, whether you used a toothpaste or a soap or anything, roll on, lotion, Rupert, he owns all of that. How do we have one family owning all the shelves in South Africa? I was very happy with the fighters there in Gauteng when Operation Tutula went to stop people from entering the hospitals. They arrived there and defended our people against Operation Tutula, that no one is going to stop a patient, whether Zimbabwean or Nigerian, we don't care. This person is sick and must be helped and is sick in our country and is not going to die in our country. Our country saves lives, does not kill people. How dare do you allow in Limpopo, Poppy to go to a sick bed, to a dead bed, and tell a patient the nonsense she was telling a patient? And you still have her going into public places unchallenged by the EFF. Such an MEC who doesn't even see anything wrong with talking to a person who's on a dead bed. The nonsense she was talking. She has taken an oath that they will never take politics to beds, to the sick beds. That's why their office is there. Those patients must be given hope. She's waiting on a bed for a surgery. She says, Poppy says to her, you are wasting my resources here. You are going to be helped here with my resources. A sick woman on a bed being insulted by another woman. The Zimbabwean woman who's sick on a dead bed, she says, I'm grateful. Don't tell me you are grateful. Don't tell me. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You say that to a sick person who's humble. And then she calls herself a doctor. She calls herself a leader who says to the most humble person, a person who can